Well, we're almost through the first month of 2023 here. And yes, I'll give you the ages on which generation each age is, or each generation in terms of age this year. Like how old people are turning. Like, for example, the greatest generation, well, there's not so many of them that are still around today. That means they're probably in their mid to late 90s, approaching the century mark, you know. Yeah, 1923, 2023. I mean, there's only a handful of them that were born during the 20s that are still around today. But I'm sure lots of houses that were built during those days are still here, though. I'm not sure if houses have generations like humans do, though, or buildings in general. Yeah, it's kind of like the builder's generation, too. Yeah. Yeah, we all know about the greatest generation that fought in World War II. Yeah. Yeah, according to Strauss and Howe, the greatest generation is turning 99 this year. And the silent generation, of course, they were born from 1925 through 1942. They're going to be in their 80s and 90s. Yep, their 80s and 90s. The silent generation's going to be in their 80s and 90s this year. And of course, we all know about the boomers. Yeah, the oldest baby boomers are turning 80, which is unbelievable. And Davy Johnson, the former Dodger manager, and of course he managed the Mets throughout the 80s, and then he had stints with other teams throughout the 90s as well. Yeah, yeah. So the baby boomers are in their 60s and 70s. So the of course the silent generation, the youngest is turning 81, the oldest is turning 98. Yeah, for the boomers, the youngest is turning 63 and the oldest is turning 80. Yeah, the boomers. Yep. Now we go to Gen X. Those were the individuals born from 1961 until 1982. So the youngest Gen Xers are turning 41. And the oldest Xers are turning 62. Yep. Those are the ones that are living in their midlives. And, of course, most of the boomers are retiring. But, yeah, a lot of the Gen Xers are still working. And, yeah. And then the millennials. The oldest millennials are turning 40. Yeah, the youngest millennials are turning, or the oldest millennials are turning 40. While the youngest millennials are turning 21. So that means they were born from 1983 until 2002. Yep. Yeah, so we already talked about Gen X and Gen Y. Yep. And Generation Z, 2003 to the present. So that means they're under the age of 21 this year. So those are the children and teens this year, and while the millennials are the young adults in their 20s and 30s. And the Gen Xers are in their 40s and 50s. Yeah. Yeah. Generation X. Yeah, 1961. Yeah, these birth years are just approximate birth years because there's really no exact starting birth year or exact ending birth year, because with some of these generations, there's cuspers too. Like Generation Jones or the late boomers and the early Xers that were born like from the late 50s to the mid 60s, for example. And the Xennials are born from the late 70s to the early 80s. So, yeah. That means you're on the cusp. Yes, generations have cuspers. Oh well. I hope you enjoy your rest of your day. I'll talk to you later.